Cafe Racer is back in the shop, and we're going to do some upgrades. Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Well, I did some work on this Cafe Racer a while back. It's a Honda CB550. I'll have to look at the year. I can't remember what year it is. But it had been sitting, hadn't been running. I got it running, installed the handlebars. So hopefully I will remember to put a link to that video on here. I'm pretty sure in that video I said I'm not a super big fan of Cafe Racers, but this isn't my bike. I'm helping out a friend. So, you know, that's their taste in bikes. And, you know, when they get done upright, they're all right. It's just not really my very first choice of a bike. But for today, we got a whole bunch of stuff we're going to do on here. And I think we'll start the video with, I'm going to do front forks and a brake upgrade on here. So I have to take off the front wheel. We're going to be changing out the tire on that, changing out the front brake disc and the front caliper and the front master cylinder. And then also we're going to be doing a fork spring change and seals and fluid on the front forks. So let's get started on it. So we have a different brake caliper. I think he said this is off a CB550. Said it was an upgrade. I don't know if it is or isn't. We have a new master cylinder, some progressive, is that what we got? Yeah, progressive fork springs, and some new fork seals, a brand new EBC brake rotor, EBC pads. Here's our whole front brake line, brand new. We braided items, and some fork oil. And then I also have a new Avon tire out here somewhere. So to get started, I am going to get the front end elevated. Fortunately, the center stand is still on here. That's something he wants me to remove. But it's on here, so we can utilize that now. So I can probably hook a strap up to the handlebars, and then we'll hook up to the overhead here just to lift this up, keep it steady, get the weight off the front wheel. And then we will take off the front tire. Like I said, I have to change the tire anyway, so that works out good. I haven't removed one of these in a while. I think it's just these lower cap mounts there. Yeah, we'll find out shortly. Hey there, old one leg. All right, getting the axle off is an interesting deal on this bike. You loosen up both of the lower fork caps, and then the axle, you actually have to turn this side here, which I believe is a 24 millimeter, and then hold that in, or vice versa. You could probably leave that one clamped and then just turn that one with a screwdriver through there, and then this axle will come out. And I removed the right hand fork just because this one has the brake on it. We'll do that one next. Now, these forks have these accordion boots on them, which are really nice. They really protect the fork, and you can see how nice it looks in that area. And then this is the upper area here, and that looks like total trash. Now, fortunately, the fork doesn't travel in this section, but we'll have to see about when we install this. If the fork seal has to go over this, it could cause some issues. So we may try to clean this up a little bit with some sandpaper. But for now, we're going to take this thing apart and drain it. So I'm going to take off this cap. There should be a small spacer under there, and then our fork springs. Well, there's all the bits and pieces from the fork taken apart now. Remove the old fork seal. Got everything taken apart. We're going to clean this up, install a brand new fork seal, and reassemble this. Also changing out this fork spring with the progressive one that we have over here. I just compared them. That one's a little bit longer. And then I also RTFM read the freaking manual that came with this. And they have a recommendation here for setting the fork level rather than setting it at the limit from the factory, which said an ounces level. I didn't see a millimeters level. So I guess we're going to determine what we should do. I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to put in the 5.3 to 5.6 ounces. That's what I got out of the manual, and see where it falls in this range. So there's a difference between reading the manual and understanding the manual. So the biggest thing it says here is that you shouldn't add too much oil. So 5.5 inches below 140 millimeters is the absolute maximum amount of oil you should have. So I just went with what the manual said. I put 5.5 ounces of oil in here. So we've got this one done. We'll remove the other one. I'll take all the brake components off and I'll show you all that stuff and rebuild that other fork, get these two on, and we'll come back when the brakes are ready to get worked on. We got all these brake goodies, but I can't install that stuff because we wanted to install this caliper here, or brake caliper, and that's obviously not going to just bolt on anywhere here. I thought that he had a relocation bracket or something like that, so we need to do some research. It's too bad. I mean, look at this awesome front rotor. Thing's really nice. So it's really not worth my time to install that without doing this, because I don't want to crack the system open twice. So now I guess what we'll do is we will take a look at these rear sets that we got here. I also have a set of carburetors. So these rear sets came with no instructions. Lovely. So I've been messing around with them and I think I've got them figured out. I do believe that they will mount there and there. And that'll move the foot peg back here. So I'm gonna have to take off this brake pedal, this foot peg, and this swing arm mount. So I'm going to take all this stuff off and we'll see if in fact this is correct. These are some pretty nice brackets, but I don't know if they don't normally come with instructions or they're just missing in this one or what. I even went on their website. There was no downloadable instructions. That would be a nice feature there. Cognito Moto. But anyway, I figured out how they go. I mean, there's only so many ways, but still, I mean, it was a little bit confusing. So the big circle part here goes to the back. You have to remove the whole swing arm pivot. It has to come all the way out. And remove your lower foot peg bracket there. Now, I wasn't able to get all the washers on there either. I might actually take one out on the other side. As you can see, we're not fully engaged on threads here. And on this side, like I said, you have to remove this whole swing arm pivot. The nut on that side, take that off, then pull the whole thing out, and then you push the bolt through this bracket. Of course, mount up that. This is just basically a threaded rod, so I'm gonna probably loosen this nut and take off that washer, and we'll just use lock washer on each side because I don't like that thread engagement, like I said. But this is where we're at so far. Now I have to figure out the brake routing, which is also going to be a pain. But I think I've kind of got it figured out. They give you a new pivot here. Now, the fact that it has a little mount for the spring tells me that it has to be about right there somewhere. So I'm going to probably put it right about there where it is. It can't go up too much higher because then it hits the old stop right there, which I don't know, maybe I should put that back in. Maybe, I don't know. And then also The other thing I'm thinking we might want to put on here is wherever the old foot brake is. I wonder if we should put that on there, that spring. Maybe. So it has a spring back. I'll mess around with that for a little bit and see if we can figure that out. Without the instructions here, this is what really messed me up here, having these long rods, and I was like, well, how in the world is that going to work? I couldn't figure this out until I looked at these a little bit closer, and all they are is just a threaded rod with a piece of sleeve over the outside. So what I'm guessing they want you to do is to measure this out. So I'm going to put this probably like level for now, because that'll make it the longest. And then I will cut this down, check it, make sure it works, and then we'll cut this sleeve down in the middle. And then it's the same on the other side. I got the foot peg attached. They give you a new little tab to put on the shifter here. So we'll just make that rod the same way. So I'm going to measure these, cut them. I'll show you what they look like once they're completely installed. But the brackets are tightened down, foot pegs are tightened down. A nice kit, but I don't know. Maybe usually the instructions are here and they just got misplaced. Who knows? There's our brake and our shifter. So I'm going to just leave those like that for now, and then when the owner takes a look at it, we can decide if he wants to move the levers up or down. So whether we need to extend those or shorten them, and then we will cut the little tube piece that makes it look pretty and install that. In the meantime, I've installed one of these Cafe Racer seats, and so far I haven't had to really modify too much. I cut off the helmet hook. There's a helmet hook right here. I cut that off, and there's one back here I cut off. I don't want to really do any frame cutting just yet. We'll let the owner decide what he wants to do. I know a lot of guys put that hoop around the back that matches this radius here. So that would involve cutting this off and some welding. So we'll decide later. For now, it fits okay. I made a little bracket right here out of a piece of flat stock, and I just bent it over a little bit, and that goes under the seat and it catches the frame tubes here, and then drilled 2 holes in it and put bolts up into the seat. Not the best solution, but it's a down and dirty quick one to get this seat on here, so we can decide what we want to do with it. Probably if we leave these pieces on here, it's not the prettiest, but we could cut this section off. We'll drop this down a little bit, make this sit flatter, and then you'd at least have a place to mount license plate and all that stuff. Of course, a lot of guys like to mount the license plate and the tail light off of the rear axle. That's an option. But it's looking pretty good. We'll get those carburetors installed in the morning. So here's the old carburetors out of this motorcycle. We had those and then 4 pod filters on it. And what we're going to is this system that connects this 2 into 1 intake off of the 3 and 4 cylinders, and the same off of the 1 and 2 cylinders, and then a dual carb setup. I don't know what carburetors these are. I think they're Mikuni's. Looks like they might be, I don't know. I guess I'll wait till I get them open and install them here. But they're probably like a pumper style carb or something like that. but it looks like a tight fit. Hopefully they get in there. We'll see. When I first saw this setup here, I was pretty jazzed about it, but after installing it, I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant about my thoughts on it, and supposedly the guy who runs it's a pretty good guy. I don't know, maybe I should give the company a call and ask a few questions, but first and foremost, the carburetors are jammed back here quite a ways. This throttle cable is right up against the edge of the frame here, and it's at a kind of a gnarly angle, which it still should be fine. It'd be nice if it had a little bit more room. These hoses that they give you are way too big for the intake manifolds. I tightened them all the way down as well as I could with the what looked to be pretty good quality hose clamps that come with it, but I just don't like the thoughts of that, having to squeeze that down to close off so much space between there. It just seems like it would really give you a good opportunity for air leaks. And now we got to get air filters in there somehow. And this one's right up against the battery box, so I guess you won't be running a battery box with this setup, at least not the stock one. So, I don't know. The throttle cable seems okay, although it is kind of long, probably just because of the Clubman bars that we've installed on here. But supposedly they're out of the box, set up, ready to go, synced and all that. So I guess we will see. I'll remove this battery box. I don't know what we'll do, lay this battery in here for now. We don't have any other setup for right now. And then the other negative with these aftermarket parts is, you know, you could just go with a really small battery, and if that dies, you could use the Kickstarter, but now you can't use the Kickstarter because it hits on these rear set pegs that we've installed. So this is kind of my beef with these sort of setups. You take a perfectly functional bike and you make it less functional. So, oh well. Carburetors are installed, tank is installed. I don't really like, here's another thing I'm going to complain about these carburetors. This whole thing gets right in the way here of your fuel line routing, so it's not the best. And I just grabbed some fuel hose I had here too. So this is just kind of a preliminary setup. Battery box had to come out, and fortunately I have this little bit lighter weight lithium battery that I've just shoved in there. So let's fire it up so you guys can hear what it sounds like. Get you in the stand here. There's that squeaky noise. Enjoy. I already fired it up, so don't worry about the cold revs. Probably zip tie this up over here for now, get that out of the way, and that's pretty much it for the Cafe Racer project at this point. We don't have the lights on the back, so all these wires are just hanging out. I'm supposed to take the center stand off. I might just leave that on for now because we're going to need to do the front brake, and it would be nice to have. So at this point it's not really rideable. I guess you could ride it up and down the street, but that's about it. Well, I appreciate you helping on this project and watching this video. If you're liking my content, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you're not already a subscriber, please consider doing so. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.